been bashing Acclaim a lot lately, so let's keep it up. Developed by Sculpture Software and published by Acclaim, WWF In Your House was released for the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and DOS in November 1996. The game is essentially a sequel to WrestleMania the arcade game, covered way back in episode 20. If you didn't watch that episode, and shame on you if you didn't, WrestleMania the arcade game was basically the WWF mixed with Mortal Kombat, and In Your House took that combination a few steps further. For those of you too young to remember In Your Houses, first, I hate you, and second, the WWF used to only have 4 pay-per-views a year: WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, before adding King of the Ring in 1993. But in 1995, to match WCW's increased pay-per-view schedule, the WWF began offering monthly pay-per-views, in addition to the 5 already in place. And the new ones were called In Your House with a catchy subtitle. The shows were only an hour and 45 minutes, an hour shorter than most of the other shows, and offered at a reduced price. Given that the shows were shorter and cheaper than the standard fare, fans regarded them as B-shows in every sense of the word. So why would you name a video game after that concept is beyond me. Especially since a lot of those early In Your Houses were really, really bad. I get the wordplay that you play this arcade-style game in your house, but still it's a sequel to a game called WrestleMania, a name that carries a bit more clout. Anyway, start the game and you get a choice of 10 wrestlers: Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Vader, Ahmed Johnson, Owen Hart, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Goldust, British Bulldog, and most interestingly, the Ultimate Warrior, who came back to the company and lasted all 3 months in the ring, but somehow found his way into the game. Besides him, though, everyone else was around for at least a year after the game's release, which is a pretty high batting average. Not present in the game are Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, who departed for WCW early in the year, but also MIA is Steve Austin, who won King of the Ring that year and went on to become kind of a big deal. So we can place the roster choices around April or May of '96. The gameplay is essentially the same as WrestleMania. The action takes place in the ring in a 2-out-3 falls contest, and the moves are done by entering MK-like button combinations. It's not really different from Warzone or Attitude, but it doesn't bother me as much here, given how this is basically a fighting game more than anything else. Also, your moves are completely insane. Highlights include Ahmed Johnson growing into a giant and punching you, the British Bulldog hitting you with a leash and growing a bulldog head and attacking, and Owen Hart pulling out a machine gun and shooting playing cards at you. People still bleed objects pertaining to their character. Goldust spills film reels when you hit him, and the Bulldog bleeds little Union Jacks. The game still has the same digitized graphics as WrestleMania, but they don't look quite as sharp as its arcade counterpart. Sounds are pretty solid, though, with Vince McMahon and Mr. Perfect of all people providing commentary, even though Perfect left the company right before the game came out. Vince is at his bombastic best here, which actually works pretty well with the over-the-top gameplay.
Speed back punch! This is gonna hurt!
Game options are quite limited. There's Season Mode, where you basically beat everyone else, and then Intercontinental and World Title modes, which are essentially the same but throw handicap matches into the mix. Just these modes would be okay for the arcade, but that's awfully skimpy for a home release. It's not like there are any unlockables or incentives to go through every mode. You do have the option of playing with 3 other people, but again, something like a tag mode would have added a whole lot of extra gameplay. They did away with the weird Kurt Vonnegut-esque endings that were in WrestleMania the arcade game. Now you see a small highlight reel of your character when you beat the game. It doesn't seem like much of a reward now. Maybe 16 years ago when video footage in home video games was a newer concept, we felt differently. I had mentioned that Acclaim took the Mortal Kombat influence a step further, and that comes through in 2 ways. Number 1 is that they introduced different arenas tied into each character, which I guess is more like Street Fighter 2, but you get the point. For example, Bret's arena is presumably the Hart family dungeon, Goldust is a movie theater lobby, and Shawn Michaels is in a nightclub. Vader's looks to be in a gold mine since he's from the Rockies and whatnot. He really should have been in the White Castle of Fear. And the Ultimate Warrior's in the desert? And he should have been in outer space or something. What's with the guys in the kilts? The other MK quality is the addition of fatalities, or super pins. Enter a button sequence as you go for the winning pinfall, and you get an elaborate wacky move, most of them involving dropping large objects on your opponent. Bret Hart drops a huge WWF title, which is funny since he wasn't the champ when the game came out. I'm guessing that one's a rib. Shawn drops a Heartbreak Hotel set, Owen drops a throne, and most grotesquely, Vader jumps in the air, grows his ass to an enormous size, and sits in his opponent. Upsetting. There's weird stuff like Triple H absorbing you into a perfume bottle and Goldust turning you into a Goldust Oscar statue type thing. Ultimate Warrior uses lightning bolts to annihilate you like Raiden. But I think my favorite is Ahmed Johnson's, where he not only punches you into pieces, he manages to char your bodily remains too. This game is the ultimate definition of a rental. Get it for the weekend, try everyone out, have some friends over, return it on Sunday and be done with it. Long term, you'll lose interest quickly, and there's really nothing to bring you back. The lack of options is pretty shocking for a game that came out in the mid-90s. Throwing in tags or Survivor Series matches would have gone a long way. I can appreciate something different, and hey, it's far from the worst thing Acclaim has put out, but those games are for another day. Until then, thanks for watching, and remember, the winner is you.
In your house. We're in your house tonight. We're coming into your house.